Most people don't quit when something clearly isn't working. They quit when it almost is. Not at the beginning, when expectations are low, and not at the end, when results are obvious. They quit in the middle, right when things start to feel strange. There's a specific moment that shows up in almost every long process. Effort has been invested, time has passed. The initial motivation is gone, but the payoff hasn't arrived yet. That moment feels like failure. Not dramatic failure, quiet failure. The kind where nothing is clearly wrong, but nothing feels right either. Discouragement doesn't show up immediately. Early on, novelty carries you. Hope fills gaps. Expectation does most of the emotional work. Discouragement shows up later, when novelty wears off, and expectation has to be replaced by evidence. But evidence lags behind effort. So discouragement arrives right on time, just before the evidence does. When discouragement appears, people assume it means something important. They think, this feeling means I should stop. This resistance means it's not meant to work. If this were right, it wouldn't feel this hard. Those interpretations feel rational, but they confuse timing with truth. By the time people quit, they usually have good reasons. They're tired. They're uncertain. They've already given more than they planned to. From the outside, stopping looks like maturity. From the inside, it feels like protecting energy. But the feeling of being done often appears not because progress failed, but because progress is transitioning. Right before meaningful change, several things happen at once. You become more aware of mistakes. Your standards rise. Small inefficiencies become obvious. Effort feels heavier. This creates the illusion of regression. But awareness increasing is not failure. It's refinement. And refinement is uncomfortable. Progress doesn't improve smoothly. It clusters. Long stretches of effort with little visible return, followed by sudden improvement. The problem is, discouragement clusters too. It piles up during the flat stretch, right before the curve turns upward. So the feeling that convinces people to quit often arrives right before the moment that would have rewarded them. People repeat this cycle across different areas of life. They start, they invest, they reach the middle, they feel discouraged, they quit. Then they start something new, not realizing they left the previous thing right before it would have changed. It's not lack of discipline, it's misreading the signal. Discouragement feels like a warning, but in long process, it's often just information. You're past the easy part. The problem isn't that discouragement shows up, it's that we treat it like a verdict. Continuing feels risky because it requires tolerating uncertainty. Quitting resolves uncertainty immediately. Continuing extends it. So the mind frames quitting as relief, even though it sacrifices the payoff. That trade-off feels logical in the moment. Only later does the pattern become visible. Once you see this pattern, it loses some of its power. Discouragement stops being a command and starts being a location marker. Not stop here, but you're here. And where here is often closer than it feels. The people who make it through aren't more motivated. They're more patient with ambiguity. They don't interpret discomfort as meaning. They let it pass without acting on it. That's not willpower. It's pattern recognition. Most people quit at the exact wrong time because discouragement arrives before proof. Not because they failed, but because they misunderstood the moment. If quitting feels logical right now, it may not mean you're wrong. It may just mean you're closer than you realize.